Okay, today we're going to discuss simplifying rational expressions. What are rational expressions? A rational expression is the quotient of two polynomials. The domain is all the real numbers except those for which the denominator is equal to 0. The denominator cannot be equal to 0 because if the denominator is equal to 0, the given will be undefined. Let's try to illustrate this by looking at these examples. So for letter A, it says here, simplify the rational expressions. Identify the excluded values of x and write the domain. So I have here number 1 is 18x to the 6 divided by 27x to the 4th. Okay, so first thing that you do is you make a bar line here, okay, where you will put your answer. So 18 over 27 is, you can reduce that as, if you divide this by 9, 18 divided by 9 is 2. If you divide 27 by 9, it is 3. So 18 over 27 is 2/3. And then x to the 6th and x to the 4th, when dividing, you're going to subtract the exponent. Okay, so this one is x raised to 6 minus 4 is 2. So the answer here is you have 2x squared over 3. Now let's try to find out the excluded value. Excluded value of x. Okay, so to find the excluded value of x, okay, you're going to set the denominator equal to 0 and then solve for it. Since the denominator is just a monomial, which is 27x to the 4th, equate that with 0, you will see clearly that x should not be equal to 0. Okay, so the excluded value is x is equal to 0. And so if we're going to write the domain, okay, it will be, the domain will be all real numbers except the excluded value, except 0. Okay, so try to do number 2. Let's do number 3. This one is, again, I'll put a bar line. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, I'm going to put it above. And then a squared, and then divided by a. Take note, you can only divide similar terms. Subtract their exponent. The exponent of a here is 1. So that is a. 3 minus 1 is, you have 2. And then b, this is 1. b, 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Okay, this one is negative. Okay, so you have to make it positive. Okay, by taking the reciprocal, that means put this down. So it's going to be 2a squared over b positive. Once you put it down, it becomes positive. The exponent becomes positive. Okay, now the excluded value again is equal to 0. A cannot be equal to 0. B cannot be equal to 0. So the domain are all real numbers, all numbers except 0. Okay, now it's a different thing if you are given like this. This one now is a binomial and a binomial. So what you do is you're going to factor to simplify. So this all depends on your knowledge in factoring. So you look here, 2r minus 4 in the numerator, I can factor out 2 because 2 is a common monomial factor. So this becomes 2 times, this becomes r minus 2. If you want to check, 2 times r is 2r, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And below is simply r minus 2. You cannot simplify that anymore. So you will see you can cancel this. The answer is equal to 2. Okay? Then the excluded value will be set the denominator be equal to 0. So the denominator here is r minus 2. So r minus 2 is equal to 0, and then solve for r. So r is equal to 2. So r is the equals 2 is the excluded value. Meaning to say, if I will plug in 2 here, 2 minus 2, that will make the denominator equal to 0. So for the domain are all real numbers except 2. Okay? In notation, set notation, you can write this domain as a set of all x such that x is not equal to 2. Okay? Set of all x such that x is not equal to 2. Or if you want to write it in words like all real numbers except 2, it is also correct. Okay? Now let's do this one. Okay, 5x plus 10 divided by x plus 5. Excuse me. So I can factor out 5 here. That would give me 5 times x plus 2. Okay? And then divided by, let's say, x plus 5. So x plus 5. Is there or are there factors that can be canceled out? Okay, as you see, this is x plus 2, this is x plus 5, they cannot be canceled out. Okay, so the final answer is just this one. Okay, so the excluded value. Okay, so set the denominator x plus 5 be equal to 0 and solve for x. So x is equal to negative 5. So that's the excluded value. Okay, so the domain is all real numbers except negative 5. Okay, or in set notation, set of all x such that x is not equal to negative 5. Okay, not equal to means except negative 5. Okay, number 6. Okay, monomial factor between 6 and 8 is 2. You have x here, you have x here, so x is also a common factor. So if you factor out 2x, this will have, you have here what's left inside is, you have 3x. Okay, 2x times 3x is 6x squared. Minus, factor out 2 from 8, that's gonna be 4. 2x times 4 is equal to negative 8x. Divided by this one. Okay, the one is 2. And then this one is 3x. 2 times 3x is 6x. And then this will be 4. Okay, 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. And so this one will cancel out. Your 2 and 2 will cancel out. So what is left is just x. Okay, excluded value. Set the denominator equal to 0. So the denominator is this. 6x minus 8 equals 0. So x is equal to 8 over 6. So the domain is all real numbers except 8 over 6. Okay? Or in interval, in set notation, this one is set of all x such that x is not equal to 8 over 6. Okay? Now, Number 7 and number 9 will be yours to do. Let's just do number 8. Now this one is a trinomial. So to factor this, I hope you remember. This one is x plus 3, x minus 3. Because x plus 5 rather. Because 3 times 5 is 15 and 3 plus 5 is 8. Divided by x plus 3. So you will see that this one and this one will cancel out. So the answer is simply x plus 5. Okay, excluded value. Okay, by now you should know. Take this denominator equal to 0 and solve for x. So x plus 3 is equal to 0. So x is equal to negative 3. That's the excluded value. So the domain is all real numbers except negative 3. Okay? There you go. Well, let's just try to do number 9. This one is difference of two squares, perfect squares. So the factors are x plus 5 and x minus 5 divided by x plus 5. So cancel this. The answer is x minus 5. Okay? So excluded value is x is equal to negative 5. By now you should know. Okay? And then the domain is all real numbers except negative 5. Okay, or in set notation, this one is set of all x such that x is not equal to negative 5. Okay, all x, all numbers except negative 5. Okay, so that is your simplifying rational expression. Okay, so you can do your classwork now.